Oh, right, okay, all right, I'll get to it. So, all right, so my name is Kellian, and I'm the mastermind of Greendoor Labs. I have a platform called the Edventure Builder, and I was supposed to be here with Alli Hartley. Here's her ghost name tag, and she's sick in DC. I couldn't be here, so I'm sorry that you have to listen to me talk for 15 minutes, but I've done a lot of these, and so I have an awful lot of examples about what works and doesn't work when it comes to building games with kids. And I will say that building games with kids and not for kids, and I've been building games at museums for probably about 8-9 years now. I would say this is the most successful project that I have seen, especially with middle schoolers. This is like the best gaming bang for your buck. This is the best way to get middle schoolers to respond to games. And I've built a lot of games for middle schoolers. They like them, but when you have them creating their own stuff, they engage on a totally different level. It's really exciting to see. Let's see how do I do it like that? No, okay, I'm gonna have to do it this way, sorry guys. How about that? Oh God, I don't know how to run PowerPoint. There we go. All right. All right. So here I am. This is Greendoor Labs. We've been around for about 5 years. Most people know us from the game Murder at the Met, which I think just closed this year, but we have also built all sorts of wonderful games. League of Extraordinary Bloggers with the Boston Children's Museum, Agents of Change with the DC Area Museum, the Squirrely University Research Project with Stratford Hall. So we've got an awful lot of games that we've done with people. So I'm able to compare a lot of different things. Here's a question. Has anybody here actually built games with their visitors? Has anybody held a game jam? Done any sort of visitor stuff? One person. Yay. All right, 2, 3.
We're planning it.
You're planning it. Yay, that's fantastic. Well, you missed the part where I said that I think that this is the most successful way that you can use games with visitors. I really think that people respond well to this. So, I'm going to start you guys out with my Hall of Failures. Because who wants to hear all about everything that went right? That's no fun at all. Hall of Failures number 1. So we did a museum game jam at the Harvard Museum of Natural History, and we partnered with a camp. So Green Apple Camps, they used my platform, and my platform was really easy to use, so I was like, great. We'll do a games jam, and they're like, we'll handle it, we'll tell you about it afterwards. I was like, sure, no problem. Like, you want to run things? And they're running it with the Harvard Museum of Natural History educators. So I was like, okay, all set, no problem. So I show up on the day, and it's like one 19-year-old sitting there eating pizza, and like they're drawing stuff on the boards, and I was like, so how are your games? And I pull it in. And I call it the bold, unbold problem, right? Is that if you let kids get into a program, then they can spend hours being like bold, unbold, Comic Sans, New York Road, Times New Roman, right? And so like that can happen, and that can, hours of bold, unbold. So the games are broken. I mean, I think we had probably about 20 kids, and out of those 20 kids, we might have gotten one functioning game. And again, this is on a platform that's really easy to use. The technology is not an issue at all. It's just the content. But you can absolutely build broken content for a game. Like, that is not hard to do. You know, you have things that don't line up, like questions that don't mean anything, like pathways that are circular. Like, that's a broken game, and that's all we got out of this one. Then, Hall of Failures number 2. We held a game jam where nobody came. Oh, it was sad. It was so sad. It seemed like such a great idea. It was the Adirondacks Museum out in New York. They had like I think it was like a spring break. And ironically, it happened at the exact same time that I was holding a very successful game jam in Boston. Same week. Big difference, they were working with high school students. I was working with middle school students. High school students can decide to stay home and sleep for a week. Middle school students cannot. And so they reached out to these high school students, and they were like, hey guys, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna do a hackathon with the Adventure Builder. You guys can build your own interactive games and tours of the Adirondacks Museum, and then we're gonna run them later on in the season. And the kids were like, that's great, I want to sleep. And they did. High school students, if you offer them the opportunity to do more more work. They typically do not take it. Who knew? So, yeah, teenagers like to sleep. But I think the big question is agency, right? Because middle schoolers like to sleep as well. If you were like, hey, do you want to watch YouTube for the next week? Middle schoolers would be like, yes, please. But they don't have that option, right? You're 11, you are going to go to the camp that your parents tell you you're going to go to. They don't have the agency that a 15-year-old has. I like to do this in terms of every project that I do, and I'm sure you guys have something similar, where it's sort of the intersection of your goals and your resources and your restrictions. And I will say every game jam that I do, every games camp is slightly different, but it's really important to nail down exactly what I want out of my parameters. What I build for middle school students isn't going to be the same thing as what I build for high school students. So going into it, you really want to know what that is. And I also think the restrictions is a really important part, right? So what can you do? Like, what do you have? What do you want? What can you not do? Like that little circle in the center is what you build for. So I'm going to talk about something that was actually a very successful game jam and has been running for the last 3 years at the Joslyn Museum out in Omaha in collaboration with their Florida's middle school. It's a science class. And here are our goals, resources, and restrictions. And they just wanted something that they could do to collaborate with this middle school that would get the kids into the galleries. And so they were able to sort of use the Edventure Builder to create this games camp for their 7th graders. And it looks kind of like this. Again, slightly different setup, right? Because we've actually got a 7th grade middle school and museum educators are coming in like an hour a week. And they're like setting things up for the kids, and they've got class time, like full-on class time in the 7th grade. So same thing. And I was saying a little bit before, the big difference is like having these worksheets, having the plan. What am I going to do at minute 1? What am I going to do at minute 10? And if you deviate off of that plan, then that's fine. But the difference between having it and not having it is, you know, just light years away. They brought the kids into the museum, and so they had a field trip. These are actually the kids actually in the museum. I know it looks like a stock photo because they're so engaged, but this is why I think this is such a great type of program. These are the types of responses that you get from kids when you have them building their own stuff. And again, I really think it's key to take technology out of the equation. Have a technology that's really easy to use. Don't give them too much freedom within that technology or they'll unmold forever, right? So you want to do something that's either a paper-based game or a really simple platform, Edventure Builder, Twine, Scratch, something where you're just not going to go down that rabbit hole. Also really important, if they're building tech games, make them do a paper prototype first. So wait until the very end of your game design process before you actually hand over the keys to any sort of tech. Make the tech a big surprise that, you know, yay, you're going to be able to play, put it in the tech system afterwards. Have them test paper prototype as well. That way they're focusing on content and not focusing on the bold unbold, you know, because that will get you there much quicker. This is the Edventure Builder. This is my platform. I built it because it's robust and it's easy, but there are a lot of other really great platforms out there. My platform is licensed, but Twine is not. Twine is a really great platform, also pretty easy to use. StoryQuest is another really great platform. Again, Scratch, you know, all sorts of people are building things on Scratch. If you're into augmented reality, there are things like Blipper that you can use that I believe, I reached out to them and they said if you're doing educational museum projects, then let us do it for free. But again, easy tech. You want to keep it as easy as possible. Again, not stock photo. This is not a stock photo. When I got this, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. No, this is 11-year-olds engaging with art at the Omaha Museum of Art. Which is incredible, right? You know, it's like, I like to juxtapose that one with the one that they have at the Rijksmuseum with like the kids on their phones. Like there are ways to engage kids with digital media that's really amazing. And we have run this consistently for 3 years, and to date, even though I have kids at the University of California, San Diego, and Tulane that are building things on this platform, still Joslyn has higher user numbers than anybody. They've had thousands of people run through their kids' games because everybody wants to play these games that their students made. They think it's really engaging. They're excited about it. And we wrote about it, and it recently won an award, and it's just a really robust program. But again, the key is that framework, right? I mean, it took us a long time to get that solid framework, but once you have the base of it, then it works much better. Okay, so I will buzz through one more project that we did in 60 seconds. Harvard Museum of Natural History. This was a games camp, so we weren't specifically in a classroom. We just had a week with the camp. But here's the glorious part about this. Do you see this? $200 for non-members. We sold out in a week. And I literally had people who are members of Harvard Museum of Natural History that were friends that emailed me, and they were like, "What are you talking about? This is insane. You're never going to get this. This is abusing people." And I was like, "No, I promise. Parents are going to want their kids to do this." And it was absolutely sold out within a week, which means that this was a project that cost the Harvard Museum of History absolutely nothing. They actually made money off of this project. So again, goals, resources, and restrictions. Always good to figure those out ahead of time. When you have a hammer, everything's a nail. I have the Edventure Builder, so all of my game camps are off of the Edventure Builder. This was a 4-day camp. One of our great resources was we had class space. I passed out the curriculum. It's right in front of you, so you can take a look. I also passed out these worksheets. Worksheets are the best. It keeps the kids super focused. And again, I didn't give them the tech until the very, very end. So I had them out in the galleries doing research on their users. They were pretty excited about that. The responses that they came back with were so great. They were doing research on users or different ages. Oh gosh, I know, it's about that time. I'll show you a couple more pictures. So here they are. They're sort of building things out. Again, goals, resources, restrictions. I had them do this too. What do you want? What do you have? What can you not do? This is a good framework to build anything, and they really got into it. Paper prototype. I had a paper prototype for the Edventure Builder, had them run everything on paper first. Here they are, playing it, testing it with kids, and then I sent them into the computer room. Only after they had tested it and given me feedback on their paper prototype, and we sent them into the computer room. One day, built everything out, they're done. Here they are, playing with their different games, and then their families came in. A release date is also really awesome. So if you can say, we're going to release our game at Friday, 2 o'clock, and all your parents can show up, that's an event. And I mean, this is Cambridge, and so all of their parents showed up. So you don't necessarily, it won't necessarily be that way everywhere, but they were proud to have something to show. And again, another failed project that I did, we used Game Salad, just a complicated system. The kids had a week. At the end of it, half of the kids didn't have anything to show their parents, and they were upset about it, and the parents were upset about it. So the most important thing, more important than anything, get something out the door, anything, something not broken. Here's the games that the kids built. They built 4 fully functioning games. Sadly, we found out Character Finder is a Harvard Museum of Natural History. They used Disney characters. So copyright, we had to pull that one. But other than that, these guys are all running. Alli would talk about her African art games, but she's not here, and we're out of time. So this is it. This is my takeaways. Make sure you have it as part of a time-specific thing. We ran a thing at the art lab at the Smithsonian, and it was just kind of open, and we got a lot of broken games. So make sure it's part of a time thing. Seems to be with middle school kids. I think that's our target. Alli Hartley ran a thing with the teen program at the Smithsonian African Art Museum that worked pretty well, but she knew those kids really well. So I don't know if a general call out to high school is going to work. Don't be loosey-goosey. The more you plan, the better for these types of things. I'm a game designer, so I like to sort of roll with the punches. Do not roll with these punches. Plan for these types of events. And it's no fun if we can't release a working game. You don't get something out the door, it's no fun for them, it's no fun for you. So whatever you do, make sure that you have an actual product at the end of it. Whew, and that is it. I'm 3 minutes over.